Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. There we go. We have a little stream difficulty, but it's all good. Nothing can hold us down. Nothing can keep us down. I'm your host, Luke Belmar, and today we're going to talk about what is real. Where are you tuning in from? Let me know. We're going to get started here in just a second. Make sure you let your friends and family know the revolution has begun. Time to make some money. Time to level up. Time to become better. It is only a matter of time. Destined for greatness, destined for glory, destined for your fullest potential. The question is, will you unlock it? It's up to you today. You get in life what you put in. We all know that. The question is, what are you putting out? What are you putting into the universe? What are you going to demand from the universe? What are you going to extract from the very core of this universe and will it into existence? Or will you just cower to the pressure, to the circumstances of this world? I am your host, Luke Belmar, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to have a good session. Will you embrace it? Will you become a champion? Will you win? Or will you be crushed and subjugated like the peasants? Pen and paper, ladies and gentlemen. I have no time to waste. There's zero time to waste. There's money to be made, moves to be made, and a world to conquer. The question is, will you be a spectator in the stage of history? Or will you become a victor? Will you become a victor? Will you transcend the average man? Will you transcend the average woman? Will you become what you were meant to be? Continue unplugging you from the matrix. Continue unplugging you from the system. Health, wealth, love, and happiness. Wherever you are around the world, ladies and gentlemen, I salute you, I commend you. You're amongst the glitches, you're amongst the few. The revolution has begun. You feel it. I feel it. Today we're going to be talking about the philosophy of the Matrix. It was long before the Matrix movies. It was brought to us by Plato. Plato spoke about this. Today I want to break it down. I want to dissect it for you. The life that you have is the life that you chose. So choose wisely the next day, and the next day, and the next day, so that the future is the future that you chose. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys are doing well. That's the introduction. Capital Club, guys, is going to be launching here very soon. I'm excited and delighted to bring that to you guys. And we are going to have a phenomenal stream today. When you show up, when you decide that the life that you want to live is worth living, that you're going to take it by the balls, by the horns, and you're going to become a victor and not a victim. That you're going to excel where people are weak, where you will become strong, where people fail. It's up to you. It is your choice. Somebody said, get on with it. Ban that kid that said, get on with it. Tell him to fuck off. I'll get on with whatever I want to say, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. We're going to first start talking about, I speak with a lot of people, and the first thing that people mention to me is, what do you think my family will say? What do you think my friends will say when I begin to think these crazy things, right? When I begin to exit my comfort zone, people are going to ask you these things, right? And people are going to demand things from you. People are going to demand things from you that are of the matrix. People are going to demand things from you that are designed to keep you weak. They're going to ask you to go party. They're going to ask you to go bullshit. This is broke people mentality. Real winners, real victors stand true to their principles and elevate through trial and tribulation. As I mentioned before, there are few levels to the matrix. Most people never exit the first level. The first level is a financial level. It's understanding that the instruments of the world are designed by design to keep you subjugated, stupid, and distracted. Many years ago, Plato had an analogy about a man in a cave. And this man in the cave, in essence, had the same matrix-like experience that we all went through, right? Which is this understanding that something is fundamentally wrong with the system. We don't know what it is, but we feel the turmoil internally. We understand that many times it's very difficult to stand alone, to stand apart, to do what is right, to do what you know deep down you've been called to do. But as we continue to develop, as we continue to grow, as we continue to elevate, things become clear to us. Things become truth. So today we're going to be reacting to a couple videos. I want to break them down in real time. The first one is Plato's Cave. Plato's Cave. And this is the idea of living in an illusion. Way before the Matrix came out, way before all these philosophies came out or have been exposed to you young guys, these philosophies have been exposed and have been talked about for many centuries. They're not new trains of thoughts. They're not new belief systems. They've been around for a long time. So today, let's go ahead and cover that. It's going to be a great session, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to start with the cave. The cave, ladies and gentlemen.
Imagine prisoners that have spent their entire lives chained deep inside a cave. They have been chained so that they cannot see behind themselves, and they are forced to stare endlessly at the cave wall in front of them. Behind them, a fire is burning, and between the prisoners and the fire is a raised walkway. Now imagine that each day, a menagerie of objects crosses the walkway. Animals, and people carrying their wares to market. Their shapes create an intricate shadow play on the wall in front of the prisoners. This is the only world that the prisoners have ever known.
They live in the shadows.
The shadows.
They live in shadows.
And the echoes of unseen objects.
An illusion of what is real.
Now, imagine that a prisoner is released. After some time adjusting to the blinding light, the freed prisoner will begin to experience the world outside of the cave for the very first time. And it is like nothing he could have ever imagined. With his new perception of the world, the man will...
You need to have a new perception of the world, ladies and gentlemen. You need to be able to understand that the life that you've been born into is a life of slavery. From the moment you were born, everything that's been told about you is a lie. Every single thing. Go ask somebody, tell me who you are. Ask them, tell me who you are. Ask an individual to tell you this. They'll tell you their name. They'll tell you their profession. They'll tell you their family name. But these are just tags, titles. They'll tell you what party they voted for. They'll tell you how much money they have, the business endeavors that they've pioneered. But ask a person, who are you? Who are you truly at a deep, deep level? And a lot of people aren't able to answer that question because they've been chained from the moment they were born, enslaved. They've been looking at the shadows that Plato talks about, the shadows on the wall, chained, not able to look left, right, or behind them, not able to explore the truth and the vastness of the world. And that is the world a lot of us live in. So Plato talks about the allegory of the cave, and he talks about this in a very smooth and relaxed way, and I want to share this with you. It's a little bit long, but it's an early morning, so get your coffee, tune in.
Let me show in a parable to what extent our nature is enlightened or unenlightened. Envision human figures living in an underground cave with a long entrance across the whole width of the cave. Here they have been from their childhood and have their legs and necks chained so that they cannot move and can only see before them, being prevented by the chains from turning their heads around.
From the moment you were born, chains around you, left, right, and center. You need to go to school. You need to get jabbed. You need to listen to your parents. You need to listen to your authority. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got no freedom. From the moment you were born, the perception that you have is the perception you were given. There are things that people have yet to question. Yet to question. The moment you begin to question things is the moment you become free.
Above and behind them, a fire is blazing at a distance. They see only their own shadows, which the fire throws on the opposite wall of the cave.
They don't even see who they are.
For
They
how
see
could
the shadows
see
of who
anything
they
but
are.
the shadows if they were never allowed to move their heads?
Permission.
Between the fire and the prisoners, there is a raised way and a low wall built along the way like the screen which puppet players have in front of them, over which they show the puppets.
When you understand that there's puppet masters that run the world, they control the world.
Do you see men passing along the wall, carrying all sorts of
You
articles
understand
which
that the
they
money
hold
that's dangled
projected
in front
above the
of you,
wall?
the fame, the
Statues
popularity,
of
the
men and
status,
animals made of wood and stone
the
and
endeavors,
various materials?
they're all dingled in front of you to keep you blind. Like this, dangling
Of the
in front
objects
of you.
which are being carried in like manner, they would only see the shadows. And if they were able to converse with one another, would they not suppose that they were naming what was actually before them? And suppose further that there was an echo which came from the wall. Would they not be sure to think when one of the passers-by spoke that the voice came from the passing shadows? To them,
People believe that the messaging that's in front of them is true. They never question anything. People do not question anything that's in front of them. People don't question anything that's around them. They are blind. They're blind. They're looking at the shadows in front of the cave. They don't realize that sometimes somebody has to come along.
And now look again and see what will naturally follow if one of the prisoners is released. At first, when he is liberated and compelled suddenly to stand up
People
and
love
turn
the
his head
shadows.
round
People
and
love
look
to live in
towards
the
light,
illusions, because the moment that you question their beliefs, the moment that
all
you
this would
question
hurt him, and he would
that
be
maybe
much
what
too
they
dazzled
believed
to see
is
distinctly those things whose shadows he had seen before. And then conceive someone saying to him that what he saw before was an illusion. But that now, when he's approaching nearer to reality and his eyes turn toward more real existence, he has a clearer vision. What will be his reply? And you may further imagine that his instructor is pointing to the objects as they pass and requiring him to name them. Will he not be perplexed? Will he not think that the shadows which he formerly saw are truer than the objects which are now shown to him? And suppose once more that he is reluctantly dragged up a steep and rugged ascent and held fast until he is forced into the presence of the sun himself. When he approaches the light, his eyes will be dazzled, and he will not be able to see anything at all of what are now called realities. He will require to grow accustomed to the sight of the upper world.
Guys, waking up is not easy. It's a process. It's a process of of fasting from the things of the world, fasting from the things that have been exposed to you, fasting from the deception and the lies. TikTok is a lie, Instagram is a lie, Twitter is a lie, money is a lie, the school system is a lie. Everything around you is designed to keep you asleep. From the moment you were born, and I will continue to say this until I die, from the moment you were born, you've been a slave. And people, when they look back at it, they don't want to accept this reality because this reality tells them that their life so far has been fraudulent, has been fake, has been a waste, that they've been deceived. And nobody wants to be lied to. Nobody wants to feel like they're stupid.
First you will see the shadows best. Next, the reflections of objects in the water, and then the objects themselves. Then he will gaze upon the stars and the spangled heavens, and the light of the moon. He will see the sky and the stars by night. Last of all, he will be able to see the sun. And not mere reflections of it in the water, but he will see the sun.
People are told that they're free. People are told that they live in a life that is full of freedom and opportunity. But then you evaluate their circumstances, how they truly live, and you realize that it was all an illusion. People's perception, how they perceive the world, or how they've been told to perceive the world, is usually what they believe to be true. But let me tell you about perception. Perception is merely a worldview. Perception is merely a perspective. If you can master the ability to look at something from multiple perspectives and not be biased or not look at something and assume that you know the ultimate truth, then you're going to be in a situation where you cannot be fooled. But this requires dedication, this requires consistency, and this requires focus.
In its own proper place, and not in another. And he will contemplate the sun as it is. Will he not then proceed to argue that it is the sun who gives the season and the years, and is the guardian of all that is in the visible world, and in a certain way the cause of all things which his fellows have been accustomed to behold?
The more informed you become, the more intelligent you become, the harder you become to be deceived.
And then reason about it. And when he remembered his old habitation and what was the wisdom of the cave and his fellow prisoners, do you not suppose that he would bless himself for the change and pity them? And if they were in the habit of conferring honors among themselves,
look at the peasants
who were the quickest to observe the passing shadows,
honoring each other,
and to remark which of them went before and which followed after.
The Matrix, the concept of the Matrix has been around for a very long time, guys.
Conclusions as to the future. Do you think that he would care for such honors and glories, or envy?
You don't want the honors of the cave. Do you think I give a fuck about what the cave has to offer? The illusions of this world? Or to live in a real world that is free, that is full of abundance and opportunity and freedom and life and prosperity and wealth. But instead, the slaves inside the cave, they offer each other accolades, they offer each other honors, fooling themselves, making themselves believe that they know the truth. And the story continues.
The quickest to observe the past.
And the story continues that as the man goes and begins to free the individuals that were casting doubts upon his new worldview, they became angry. And the reason they became angry is because their worldview about the shadows had been questioned. But the moment that they questioned the shadows, well, the shadows no longer are the same way. They must not be real. But people have something that's called cognitive dissonance. And you begin to question, is the life that I'm living actually real? And you go out and you visualize it again. You say, let me show you the evidence. Let me show you the evidence that the life that I live is real. Let me bring you the evidence, the evidence of abundance, the evidence that I live a life worth and full of opportunity. So as the truth seeker goes and meets his fellow men, he becomes concerned. And the reason he becomes concerned is because the moment you tell people that the life that they live is a life that is full of lies, they become angry. Do not steal the shadows from me. He's trying to steal my shadow. He's trying to take what belongs to me. And eventually, you end up realizing that you're in a situation where you are alone. Not only are you alone, but you're going to be made fun of. Consistently, always, and forever. Now the question is, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the person that is comfortably sitting in their chains in the shadow, observing the shadows on the wall, or do you want to be the person that lives a life of freedom? Well, a life of freedom first requires your ability to listen to people that have become free. Second is your ability to realize that maybe the life that you live is fake, that it's a lie, but the reason you dress the way that you dress, the reason that you talk the way that you talk, the reason you think the way that you think is because another person has imposed those things upon you, and you're nothing more than an imprint of other people's philosophies and worldviews. The truth is, everything you've been told about the world is a lie. And the reason I'm telling you this consistently over the last couple days is because people forget. People forget. You'll finish the stream, you'll go back to doing the same exact thing, the same way that you were doing the thing before, and nothing will change. But in order to have a different world, in order to have a different life, you must become a different person. Many of you guys are familiar with a film. It's called The Matrix. And The Matrix has a scene called The Woman in the Red Dress. And the woman in the red dress is the illusion. It's the thing that grasps you deep, that holds you, enslaves you, that makes you turn your head. But the woman in the red dress is against you. The woman in the red dress is part of the system.
The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters. The very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And
your family, your parents, your school teachers, the people that make fun of you, the people that are always criticizing you, they're not ready to be unplugged. They're not ready to be woken up. They're not ready to see the truth. So don't be discouraged. Don't feel like you're fighting against the world. There's other people like us.
And that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it.
They'll fight to protect everything in the system.
Protect it.
They'll protect the system and they don't even know why they'll protect it. They'll protect the shadows on the
You're
wall.
looking at the woman in the red dress.
And the moment you realize it, boom, baby. You got to be focused. You have to live a life of focus. A life where you're truly in charge. And you can't be in charge unless you're awake. And we understand this.